Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really profound piece of spiritual wisdom from Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, page 957. And we're going to see how it offers this incredibly warm, accessible blueprint for finding inner peace amidst all the chaos of our fast-paced lives. Seriously, if you've been feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders lately, you are absolutely in the right place.
Today's insights come from a daily Hukamnama. Now, a Hukamnama is essentially a divine command or daily spiritual guidance. And while the poetry we're looking at today is centuries old, its message speaks directly to the modern pressures, the sheer exhaustion, and the daily anxieties we all navigate. It's ancient wisdom for sure, but it honestly feels like it was written specifically for the modern professional.
Look, let's just dive right in by addressing that totally suffocating feeling we all get when we're stuck. I mean, have you ever felt like you were walking down a path that was just getting way too narrow to navigate? Think about a career crisis, maybe a sudden change in your life plan, or just a personal struggle where it feels like the walls are literally closing in and you have absolutely zero good options left. It's that tight, anxious feeling in your chest when deadlines are looming and expectations are just sky high. Well, we're going to explore exactly how the text approaches that feeling of being totally trapped. Which brings us to our first section, widening the narrow path. We start with this absolutely beautiful verse that says, "He has widened the narrow path for me. He himself has arranged and resolved my affairs." Think about the profound relief captured right there. It's that magical moment when a door you didn't even know existed suddenly swings wide open for you. You were stressing over how to fix some massive problem at work, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, the circumstances shift and the problem just resolves itself.
It's a huge reminder that when we feel completely out of options in our high-stakes workdays, trusting in a higher wisdom can miraculously resolve affairs we thought were impossible to fix. As young professionals, we so often think we have to micromanage the entire universe, right? We think we have to force the path open through sheer willpower. But this wisdom invites us to step back. It reminds us there's a greater force at work that can widen the path and preserve our integrity without us having to constantly grind ourselves into the ground. But once that narrow path finally opens, where do we go to find a safe harbor to just rest and recover?
Let's look at Section 2, Finding the Ultimate Comfort. God is my mother and father. He hugs me close in his embrace and cherishes me like his tiny baby. I really want you to pause for a second here, take a deep breath, and just reflect on the incredible warmth of those words. Imagine being completely held when the world is simply too heavy to carry. This brilliantly illustrates the ultimate comfort we all secretly crave. Let's be real, constantly being the adult in the room is exhausting. We are always making decisions, managing teams, paying bills, charting out our entire futures. This passage gives us absolute permission to stop being the adult for a minute and to just be cherished and protected. It is the ultimate emotional relief after a period of intense burnout. But to truly heal, we have to look at what's actually causing that exhausting anxiety in the first place.
That leads us into Section 3, Curing the Mind's Hunger.
So the crucial point here is contrasting two very different sides of our lived experience. On one hand, we have the mind's hunger. In modern terms, this is the hedonic treadmill. It's that nagging belief that, oh, I'll be happy when I get that next promotion, or I'll finally be satisfied when I hit this income bracket. The text warns that asking for anything other than divine connection is actually the most miserable of miseries. Why? Because the goalpost is always moving. But on the other hand, we have contentment in the name. That's finding true, lasting inner satisfaction that doesn't depend on your LinkedIn status or your bank account. The verse beautifully prays, "Please bless me with your name and make me content. May the hunger of my mind be satisfied." Instead of condemning our ambition or making us feel guilty for wanting things, this verse warmly diagnoses our burnout as a simple hunger of the mind. And it offers profound inner contentment as the antidote. It's basically telling us that our exhaustion isn't a personal failure. Our minds are just hungry for something much deeper than what the corporate world can ever offer. Let's move to the next topic and see how this builds into one of the most beautiful metaphors for bouncing back from all that exhaustion.
Section 4, Rejuvenating the Mind. The Guru has made the woods and meadows green again. I absolutely love this imagery. Think of a forest that has endured a harsh, freezing, and seemingly endless winter. The branches are bare, everything looks totally dead, and it feels like spring is literally never going to arrive. That is exactly what severe burnout feels like. And yet, almost overnight, that same forest bursts into vibrant green life again.
The text then asks this incredible rhetorical question. O Nanak, is it any wonder that he blesses human beings as well? Think about it. If the divine can completely revitalize an entire forest after a brutal season, isn't it perfectly natural to believe that you too have the capacity to heal? If nature can bounce back from the harshest winter imaginable, you can definitely bounce back from your hardest season. Your mind can become green and vibrant again, which brings us to the ultimate result of following this comforting spiritual blueprint.
Section 5. Enduring the unendurable.
The reading wraps up with a step-by-step summary verse that outlines some truly powerful promises. It says the divine preserves your honor, helps you cross the terrifying world ocean, which, let's face it, is a perfect metaphor for the chaotic, unpredictable modern world we live in today. It makes you perfect and renowned, and most importantly, it empowers you to endure the unendurable. When we connect inwardly, we don't just survive the chaos, we navigate it with grace, we achieve true excellence, and we build an unshakable resilience.
And that brings us to this key quote. He alone endures the unendurable whom the Lord inspires to endure it. See, true resilience isn't just gritting your teeth, drinking way too much coffee, and working 80-hour weeks just to avoid burnout. That is a total recipe for disaster. Real resilience is tapping into an infinite source of divine grace to carry what previously seemed impossible. It's having the courage to admit, I can't carry this alone, and allowing that higher power to inspire and sustain you. So as you step back into your demanding routines, your meetings, and your daily obligations, I really want you to keep the warmth of this wisdom close. When the path gets narrow this week, what will you rely on to widen it? Are you going to rely solely on your own exhausted energy, or will you tap into that profound, comforting grace that makes the woods green again? Take that thought with you today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I can't wait to explore more fascinating insights with you next time.